Welcome to our next episode of our talk show, Through the Lens of the Civil Engineer, where we talk regarding various queries arising in the minds of young aspirants entering into the field of civil engineering. Today we have Mr. Nikhil Gehlot as our prominent guest. He is the director of Ideo Forage Innovations Private Limited and former co-founder of Soulcraft Genesol Private Limited. He has 5 years of experience in both the profit and non-profit sectors. He is a first-class graduate in civil engineering from SRM University, India. His expertise includes strategic collaboration, problem solving, and enabling technologies to create inclusiveness and reach the masses. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti.
Yeah. So, my very first question to you is why did you select civil engineering as your field of major?
Right, right. So, I think it's because of the reasons of legacy as well. So, my great grandfather was a contractor, and uh, then I think my father actually followed the same step, but he actually pursued civil engineering, and then he was working in railways, and he was working in construction department. So, I think when I was children, when I was child, I used to go with him on the site visit, and he used to take me on the construction sites and bridge constructions, and so I used to see that, and it has really excited me, and intuitively also got the feeling that I really love to build things. Right, so that is why one of the reason I had chosen civil engineering. So I think one of the reasons uh, I think civil engineering excite me because it has this great architecture perspective as well. So
Hmm.
if I have to go back again, right, and I have to choose, I think I would have chosen architecture instead of civil engineering. Although both of the fields are related, right? Because architecture is more about design, planning, and everything, and civil engineering is more about execution. So
Hmm.
I think I'm really good at designing part. So today I also run. So my actual uh, organization name for design is N6 Designs. In that we do designing, but it is associated with idea for innovations only. So
Okay.
we do elevation design, interior designs, and constructions and consulting work, right?
Hmm.
So that's why the reason I think I've chosen civil engineering, that I love to build things. So
Okay. That's so great, sir. Yeah. So, my next question to you is in what instances have you demonstrated leadership skills and how would you describe your style?
perfect. I think according to me, leadership is about motivating people to do something good stuff,
Yeah.
right? And for that, to become a leader, right, you have to prove yourself. And leadership also requires struggle. I mean, you can only be, see, either you can be impressed or inspired. So I think if you really wanted to be a leader, you have to inspire people, right?
Hmm.
So for that, you have to achieve something. So I think just after completing my class 12th, I used to do some art and craft work. So I used to do DI work. So I built this bridge model from ice cream sticks. So it was the longest
Okay.
bridge model. So I entered into Limca Book of Records for 4 times in my life, and India
Wow.
Book of Records for 5 times. So totally, currently, I hold 6 national records. And if you
Wow.
want to go, you can check it out on YouTube and just type Nikhil Galot World Record Holder. You'll find the entire presentation on that. So and I think when I went to the college, with I had this become like a great profile, you know, and then I became the secretary of Indian Concrete Institute. It was a student chapter in my university, so I was a secretary of it. So I think that's where
Okay.
we have organized like multiple conferences and events, and we have done some creative work there as well. But I think the I think still I don't consider myself a leader, or because for becoming a leader you have to follow someone, right? So I think
Yeah.
I think at very early age I don't want to become a leader right now. I want to become a follower, because if I will not follow people, I won't be able to become a leader. And
Yeah.
because a leader is someone who has followers, and if someone don't know how to follow people, so I think it's because
So
a
true.
lot of times we ask people about leadership. I think we should teach people about followership and how to follow
Yes,
someone.
sir.
So,
Yeah.
so I might not be able to give the correct answer for it, but I think I can add a new question to your interview, that how can we follow someone or relate to followership. I follow a lot of people. I used to watch National Geographic and this mega structure series of. So I used to really get inspired by a lot of architects and construction uh, things. So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, so you are such a keen learner, so you will definitely be a good leader. That's for sure.
I think that's
You
a
are.
quality of a leader. I love reading books, so I think a leader is always a good reader. So I follow these some steps to become a leader. And I think you cannot define yourself as a leader. There are people, if you have the quality and if you prove, then people will definitely come and say you to, hey, you have leadership quality.
So true. Yeah.
That's the point.
Exactly. Yeah. This is already highlighted in our work. So yeah.
Mm, right, right, right.
Yeah. So this brings me to another question that says that tell us about the most challenging engineering project that you have been involved with during your civil engineering journey till now.
Yeah, great. So I've not done much of the projects because I'm too young, but yeah, one of the project I actually done in my own city, from planning part and designing part. Uh, it's not a big project. I think small projects are really challenging when you have a limited space and you have to work. So I had one of the client who is from Jodhpur city and he's currently living in Kuwait. So he's a director in one of the companies there, and tax director, and he has this plot size which was 13 feet by 15 feet, 51 feet. So it was very
Okay.
sleek. Yeah, 13 feet. And in that, uh, he has this lots of aspiration that he want to design this. But when space is a constraint, I think it becomes
Hmm.
challenging for everyone. So only
Yeah.
13 feet and then 51 feet long. And because I think while designing and even execution was also tough because that was a old property. And when we have demolished that particular property, we have seen the nearby houses walls were also aligned to it. So I think the execution, which was done like way back, 20 25 years, they have not done it properly. So I think their part there at their contractor faced a lot of difficulties, that how to demolish the house properly first and then to build the new one. And challenge always come, I think a lot of challenge comes when a customer get confused, right?
Hmm.
Customer don't understand what 10 by 10 size fit of room gonna look like. But as an engineer, as a consultant, you can see, okay, I can even calculate. I think while working on projects, my observation skills become so good that I can actually see the space and calculate an area about it. But client to understand, when they see the things on paper, right? Okay, you can reduce 1 foot from here, but we have to say, oh no, you cannot do that. So I
Yeah.
think that's where I face a lot of challenges. It took me like 3 months to come out with the plan, just for a small size. And then I've
Okay.
also created one of the project planning part, which was 13,000 square feet, 130 by 100 feet. For me, that was easy because it has a
Okay.
swimming pool, private gym, theater, and everyone. For me, that was easy because space was not a constraint and it was open from four sides. So I think the much smaller the space is there, I think that's where the planning part comes. So I'm not involved
Yeah.
much more in execution because that's what contractor do, but I'm involved more in planning part because I think that's what I love. Uh,
Yeah.
and there are multiple things that I can actually answer in several other questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So true, sir. So this gives us the main point. Space constraint is so important in this field. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, the space constraint comes. Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm just telling because of my experience. There are a lot of challenges in civil engineering, right? So I'm just telling because I've not done big projects like not building bridges or big buildings. I've done small projects. I'm doing the small only because I think one of the advices that I actually got from a lot of people, especially those who have achieved or those who are big shots in this industry, or even in my city, some of the big people. So they've recommended that Nikhil, work on smaller projects because I think that's where we're learning gonna come. Even they have even
Yeah.
crisp and tell me that Nikhil, go and work on renovation projects. You're gonna learn a lot because renovation is
Hmm.
really, really challenging.
Exactly. So true, sir.
Like if you
Yeah.
ask the same question to my father, who's also civil engineer, who is currently living in Jaisalmer, working on 400 crores of project, I think the challenges for him will be really different from the challenges that I have. So I think it's always a learning thing.
Exactly. Challenges makes you learn. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is so true. So okay. Now, can you tell us something about the potential risk factors for workers on the construction site? Like, what all problems does workers face? What are the risk factors involved?
See, workers face a lot of problems, but I think most of them now become habitual. So, like people
Hmm.
like us really need a clean space and places to sit, but they are habitual. They can live there. But one of the problems that I actually seen, and I really wanted to advocate it, and I'm very serious about it, is a lot of dust issue is there, or it's not
Okay.
just injurious for workers there, but even for the engineers or clients who is going there. Like today,
Hmm.
I went to one of the site, and so what they do, whenever they put the floorings, right, tiles, they cover it from POP, plaster of Paris,
Hmm.
right, to make
Yeah.
sure that the flooring is safe. So I'm completely against of this because we experience some of the sites that when you do that, it definitely going to protect the floor. But whenever you will
Hmm.
walk on it, or whenever carpenter will come and work on it, every time you'll see a lot of dust around the site. Now, this small dust particle actually goes into our body and it affects the lung. So there's a disease called
Yeah.
silicosis, right? So I've
Okay.
actually met people who have this disease in which their lungs have completely got damaged.
Oh.
And I think there's no solution for this. Ultimately, if you see a lot of people who are working in mines, factories, stone cutting units, most of them have to face this problem. I mean, you can ask any of the doctors who know about this.
Hmm.
It happens with
Yeah.
dust. So that's why I always suggest people, and even I lash out many times that, hey, don't do that. Because if you're going to do that, I have to come and then I don't want that dust to go into my body. And
Hmm.
it's a very slow effect. It's not going to affect me. But if I'll do it for continuous 10, 20 years, after 20 years, my lungs will be damaged.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, no one talk about it. And that's why I've come out. I always recommend a solution to use this bubble guard sheet on the floors and cover it, and make sure the site is
Yeah.
clean as well. And there should be safety guards near staircase and every other thing. So
Hmm.
this is a very very tangible problem. I'm telling you. I think no one talks about
Yeah.
it. A lot of other safety factors that you have to wear a helmet and jackets and all this, which some people labor follow or not. But I think
Hmm.
the more effort should be done on precautions. And I
Yeah.
think we have to tell to
Precautions.
the clients that, hey, damn, invested. Even because
Hmm.
client also come. Like a typical housing project goes for like 6 to 8 months, more than 6 months, right? So if you're coming there 6 months, it's definitely going to affect you. It might have the bad result after a couple of years.
Yeah. True.
So this
Yeah.
is something I want to share this.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. But yeah, precautions are really very necessary.
Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think that civil engineering is the best if we compare to other fields of engineering? Like we have
Uh,
mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and etc. So, is it the best? Do you think?
so I always say to my client, there's nothing called as uh, I mean, generally, I'm also saying that uh, good or best or bad, there's always right thing. So
Yeah.
all the branches, I think we currently living in an era where a lot of integration is happening. Like hardware product is connecting with internet and is becoming IoT, right?
Hmm.
Today I can sit here and monitor my construction sites. And why it is possible? Because someone in computer science or IT engineers have worked and come out with a camera with Wi-Fi and everything. So I think every
Exactly.
branch is equally important. I think that's what the people do mistake after they complete their class 12. They blindly go into the coaching, follow, don't invest time on learning that why they want to do what they wanted to. That's what I tell you in my first question, that I think I wish I could have chosen architecture.
Hmm.
Because if you'll
Yeah.
come to my city and you'll ask some people in my network, they actually say that Nikhil is an architect. But I have to go and explain that, hey, I'm not an architect, I'm a civil engineer. So there's a difference because in a lot of city, I think, if you go tier two, tier three, or small towns, people don't understand the difference between an architect, a civil engineer, a structural engineer, and interior designer.
Hmm.
Because a lot of civil engineers do all this stuff. I think that's how the market is currently. I was reading a
Yeah.
book on complete interior design. It's a very good book. And they are specific consultant. Like they're one of the projects that we have done in Jodhpur. was for the acoustic one. So there was a complete
Yes.
shed. It was a loose
Hmm.
structure. We have to create. There's a lot of echo in the hall, so we have to do complete acoustic work. Now there was no one whom I can approach for help. There are very
Yeah.
few acoustic consultants in India.
Yeah.
Like if you go and see the big theaters and auditoriums and PVRs, there are very few consultants. I mean, I was listening to one of the some of the architects interviews in on the YouTube. He told that if you really want to go for an acoustic, you have to go to Japan somewhere find it, because they've done a great research in it.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So there's no good and bad. I think if you think civil, uh, uh, what you're good at, right? I think if I used to say to a lot of my friends, just kidding, like when my children will pass class 12th, right? I don't want to blindly go into engineering. Just I think take the money, travel the India, and
Hmm.
see how the world is. And if you really want to go into civil engineering, then first work on a construction site for 2 months. If you think that this field is good for you, then choose that. Don't choose. I think one of the challenges with the civil engineering is that also that uh, it's required a mental energy and physical energy both.
Hmm.
There are some jobs which
Exactly.
only require mental energy. Here you can sit and work on laptop, right? Especially like IT and computer science people, that's also training. But for
Yeah.
civil engineers, you have to go to the site, check the drawings, and do the work, and a lot of things we have to do.
Exactly.
And I think we are also entering into an era where civil engineer will also bifurcate into multiple field. Like on the master's levels is already there, like geotech, structure, construction management. But I think today is the time where artificial intelligence is coming, and we are talking about it, and 3D printing, and it should be breakdown. Like, and a lot of things
Okay.
that we study, I
Hmm.
think actually don't help currently.
Yeah.
So all the branches are good actually. Even new branches are emerging, like building information modeling is coming. So that's a next level course. Even I have an admission letter from UK to pursue master in BIM from
Wow.
Cardiff University. I received like last year only. I can go and join in September. But I'm also now I'm not blindly joining it. I'm consulting with architects. Okay, whether this course will make a difference, or how it's gonna
Hmm.
add value. Let's say if I go to UK and spend like lakhs of rupees and again come and that what are the opportunities for me as well, and how exactly
Yeah.
it works. So now I think I'm
Exactly.
working a lot and getting understanding the clarity. Okay, I have to really do it or not.
Wow. So great, sir. Yeah. So, okay, my next question to you is, in order to become a successful civil engineer, what kind of characteristic feature or personality traits should one have?
Right. I mean, it completely depends on what kind of project you are involved in. Like you are as a civil engineer, you can work on infrastructure projects, you can work on
Mm,
commercial projects, you can work on residential projects, right?
yeah.
And there are several civil engineers who actually don't go into directly. They don't directly do the civil engineering work. They do some other work which is related to it. Like today, I'm like 1 hour before I was sitting with someone who is a chartered valuer. He's a civil
Okay.
engineer, but he's doing valuation work. He sat on the some bank board panels and they do the work. And then I've asked him that how's the job is all about. So he told me that Nikhil, this is the dead end kind of stuff. If you come into this particular thing, valuation where you cannot do other stuff because it takes you to the next comfort zone. I think to become a
Mm,
great civil engineer, I think I, as per my knowledge, I think one should need to be physically fit as well. As I told you, for example, a lot if you're working on an infrastructure project, I think you have to be psychologically really strong. If you're a
mm,
supervisor, you have to be physically fit because you have to stand like for 8 to 10 hours on the field and interact with the laborers and all this. And I think it also required boldness. I think the field of civil engineering, you really need to be bold because there might be, for example, if you're an engineer, right? If the contractor
mm,
is senior to you, 10 years senior to you, you know the fact that he's doing the wrong thing and you know the right things. Then you need to be bold enough to tell him that hey, this is wrong,
yeah.
right? So
True.
you need that courage muscle to do that.
Mm,
I mean, these are things that we uh, see it in a day-to-day life.
yeah.
And if so,
So, yeah.
I mean, I can speak on a lot because I think this particular question can't be answered in this interview. I think this question need to be break down. That okay, it's a very situational question,
Yeah.
and
Depending on the field. Yeah.
Also, I think civil engineering in India and architecture, especially, uh, these are not high-paying jobs still in India. And one of the challenges also the civil engineering architecture face is it's very difficult to find job for freshers.
Okay.
So a lot of freshers struggle, and they have to end up either they have to do some underpaid jobs or jobs which are away, which keeps them away from the home, and they don't have the social life. So one of the entire thing which is missing in civil engineering industries or big companies is culture. Like how can you make sure your employees are happy, because it's a very pressure job.
Yeah. So my next question here itself comes that, is it, what does a typical work, I mean, what type of work it look like? Is this job stressful, or like how many working hours you have to devote for a day? So is the what it is about?
Perfect. Yeah. So usually a job start, I think job timings are like 10 to 6 because that's where the labor work. But yeah, in some cases, I think during the night shift, things go late as well, right? Because I remember my one in one of the projects, my father was. I'm just taking my father example because he has like a lot of experience. So
Yeah.
he was working on a railway project, and that's very interesting stuff. And he has to build this under bridge uh,
Okay.
on the railway track, right? But the railway route was extremely busy. So the only construction timing was there that you can actually do the work from night 2 p.m. to morning 4 a.m.
Oh.
Only 2 hours. You have like only 2 hours because there was no train going. Plus the track was completely
Yeah.
busy. So the only 2 hours
Yeah.
slot used to get. So I think for a week my father used to like sleep at 8 p.m. and he used to wake up at like 12:31 in the midnight, and all the labor
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
to stand at like 2 baj gaye, and then they have to start work, and they have to do work for 2 hours, and 2 to 4 is like a time when you get a lot of sleep,
Yeah.
and then
So
he used to
true.
sleep again back at 4:30, and then they end up wake up, and I personally can't do that kind of work. I think I can stand for one day, but I cannot do for a week or month. But there are a lot of projects in which I think these timings typically involve.
Hmm.
It's not tough or easy, but I think you need a courage. If you think that okay, yeah, it sounds adventurous and I would be happy to do that, just say yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
So I'm just
So
giving
this
you
is
one
so
example.
hectic.
Then other thing is you can either choose to work on field or you can choose to work on offices in the offices, right?
Hmm.
So it depends completely on your personality. I think for me, I'm a person like who loves to be in field initially.
Hmm.
Currently, I invest a lot of time outside rather than in my office. Like I hardly sit in my office. I only sit in my office when I'm working on doing some design work, and that's still nowadays my team do. So I have to go travel and see the space, how what kind of work is going on, and I think I love to see. I think the biggest learning for civil engineer is the nature. For civil engineer, for
Yeah.
architecture, for interior designers, I think you if someone has a basics clear of civil engineering, every building for you is a case study.
Yeah.
Every building is like a book. You have to just see an okay calculation. Okay, what's the size of windows? How long the span is?
Hmm.
What's the size of pillar? How it has been built, right? So
Yeah.
I think entire universe is built environment is itself learning for us.
Yeah. So true, sir. Yeah, exactly. So, my another question to you is that do you think internships play an important role if a student wants to get more knowledge regarding the field? If yes, how?
Extremely important. Extremely important. I think I highly recommend for those if you are in first year, right?
Hmm.
Go and do internship. The more the internship you do, I think the more it will help you to increase your desperation to learn.
Yeah.
Because usually what have see the problem the subjects like architecture, interior, civil engineering, even mechanical, electronics, right?
Hmm.
Where you have to interact with you, where you have to do with the physical world, right? You have to see those kinds of work. Like I
Hmm.
see a lot of students who when they go to the college they don't feel motivated, like why they should
Hmm.
study. They most of them study for placements, and
Yeah.
finally I will be there, I will get placement. And I think in my batch, if you ask me honestly, there were like 200 students, but 50% of them are not joining civil engineering job. Some of them went to TCS, Wipro, Accenture, working in IT companies, and
Okay.
then they're doing good. I think because I think that's their what destiny were. Some of
Hmm.
have them back again back to their parental business. Some of them prepare for government exams, some going for SSC, CGL, banking, and I think if you ask me, the percent is only 20% people actually doing the civil engineering work. And if you and if you see this, actually it's a figure with almost all the field in engineering.
Yeah.
If you I know mechanical students are actually working in IT company, or one of the student I know, one of the friend I had, uh, he was in electronics and communication, but he was
Hmm.
very good at playing guitar. He completed his bachelor's just because his parents wanted. Then he actually went to the college in Chennai, and he pursued masters in musical instrument that has no
That's
relation with electronics, right? So
yeah.
only I think 20% of the people actually become what the degree they have took it, right? So I think if we see competition is there, but I think at one point I don't see any competition. So internships, I think I had this privilege of you know getting to know about this field from very early stage of my life. As I told you, I used to visit with my father, and he used to tell me.
Yeah.
But one of the internship I had uh, when I completed my second year,
Hmm.
so I actually didn't apply it online. So I just went to the builder's office, and I
Hmm.
just wrote my certificates. Hey, like, hey, my
Okay.
name is Nikhil, and I really want to pursue internship. And I think that person was kind enough, and he connected me with a site engineer. Then that there's a guy who's looking for internship, and I used to live like just half a kilometer there. So I took
Okay.
some references, and I got an opportunity to see the foundation work of a G+16 a floor, and
Hmm.
I learned a lot. I think the realization is whether I really wanted to pursue this field or not. Because when you go and meet those engineers working there, they also tell you the harsh reality,
Yeah.
right? What are the things good? What are things not good? And one of the problems this entire sector also has is uh, a lot of people are still not uh, educated well enough to do the jobs. Like I've seen people with diploma degrees working as a project manager, right? And I'm not saying that those people don't deserve that post,
Hmm.
but the problem with those people is they have this half baked knowledge,
Yeah.
and they don't upgrade themselves. Like I used to see they
Hmm.
still used to do this project management on paper and everything. I used to see, damn man, there are a lot of apps you can use it,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
There are cameras you can use it. There are other things you can use it. There are tools you can use it. I still see a lot of diaries and pen in the people, but I think I do a lot of things on mobile. Like some people complain that why
Exactly.
don't you carry diary? I say I don't need it. I have a
Hmm.
tablet, I have a phone, I can write everything. If I like, I can click a photo. I even have this 360 camera with me. Whenever I used to go to site and do it, we just click a 360 photo, and then we have a software we used to tag it, right? So that's where we
Yeah.
also learn that what are the loopholes that are there, right? A lot of people in
So
civil
true.
engineer, especially in the colleges, they pursue internship, but most of their certificates are fake. I can guarantee that. They
Okay.
just,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a harsh fact. People go just for 2 days, work somewhere, they get the certificate, okay, because they have to show just internship certificate because they have to get the mask. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to prove that they have done the internship. Yeah.
That's a proof, yeah. I mean, I've seen in my college, and I think most of the people have, because you know, I think we can judge person confidence easily, that whether he has
Hmm.
pursued or not. Like I pursued 1 month
Exactly.
internship very seriously, and my confidence level was very different from my fellows, because I know the fact that they have got the certificate just from someone else, and they have just signed and present it.
Hmm.
So I think pursuing one of the suggestions, like people who are watching this interview, I can give it. If you're really looking to pursue an internship, meet architects who are working, because I think they really need some people. Usually
Right. Hmm.
contractors and other people might not be interested, right? But architects or consultants will always be happy to assist you. Like I recently connected with one of the fellow who is currently in first year interior design, right? And I just told him here that these are the sites going on. You can visit them anytime.
Yeah. Okay.
And you go visit, check what are things going on. If you have any doubt, come and sit with me and we'll do brainstorm.
Hmm. Exactly.
So internships extremely important role. I mean, it also help you to choose that if someone want to pursue masters, let's say in structure or geotechnical, or which field they should choose. Because I
Hmm.
think India really need subject matter experts.
Yeah.
Usually we don't have. We see a lot of people, but you will find very few people who hold expertise. Like you just go and search acoustic consultant, acoustic engineer, well, you hardly find.
Hmm.
Or structural consultants are there, like structural engineers are there, but very few have this confidence of providing a technical drawings or going on a site and seeing the problems. So as far as I've seen my city.
Yeah. Exactly, sir. So obviously, the real internships are important, not just for the proof that yes, you have done
Absolutely.
it. Yes, sir. So that was so kind of you to answer so many questions, taking out your precious time for us. That was so great of you, sir. So thank you
Hmm.
so much for having your time.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I can just add one to this. I have my own YouTube channel. Uh,
Okay.
from the name of Nikhil Gehlot, I have close to 4,000 subscribers. I used to
Okay.
create some content around architecture, interior, and construction materials. So you can add link, or people who are watching this interview, just go and type Nikhil Gehlot. I used to create some whatever the knowledgeable stuff I have or experience. I used to share my experience on that channel as well.
Okay. Yeah, sir. Yeah, sure, sir. We can do that. That would be so
Yeah,
helpful to the individuals. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so
Perfect,
much,
perfect.
sir, for having your time
Thank you.
here. We are
Thank you,
really
Preeti.
obliged to have you here.
Thank you.
And I think
Thank you.
your answers would really help the young aspirants.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.